The Tom Green Show, it's not the Green Tom Show. This is my favorite show, because it is my show. If this was your show, you'd probably like it more than I did. That's just because it was your show, but it's not your show, it's the Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show. The Tom Green Show.
Hello.
The Tom Green Show.
Keep it going, keep it going.
Tom Green Show.
Have we got a show tonight, Los Angeles? Have we got a show tonight? Thank you for coming. Welcome to the show. This is Tom Green here, live at the Smodcastle. Yes. And this is very exciting. This is the sixth episode of this show. You see, we have a full house tonight. This thing is taken off. And what a show we have. We have a very special treat tonight. I don't want to spend too much time here with the introduction, so I'm just going to bring him out. The man of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Norm MacDonald. Everybody. All right.
Hey, Tom.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
What?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going great,
Yeah,
man.
this is it. And here we are. See, this is how it works.
Yeah, can you believe we're in Hollywood?
Yeah, we're in Hollywood. We did it.
Yeah, a couple of kids from the Ottawa Valley.
Yeah, Beacon Hill.
Yeah.
This is a very we grew up very close to one another. You know, really close, just miles away, mere miles away. Jasper, you're on Jasper.
That's right.
I was on Monson Crescent in Beacon Hill, Ontario, Canada. Everybody, if you're listening on the internet, Google that. And you went to Gloucester High School.
That's right.
Gloucester Gators. I was a rival high school, Colonel by Cougars.
Oh, is that what they were called, the Cougars?
The Cougars, yeah.
Yeah.
That was before Cougars meant something else, though.
Yeah, Cougars used to mean, in my day, Cougars meant a large jungle cat.
Yeah. Now it means, what's it mean now?
Now it means, I don't know.
A middle-aged woman who likes having sex with 20-year-olds or something like that? No?
It's very unseemly.
Yeah. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something disgusting like that, right? Well, this is cool. This is going to be fun. This is my sixth show. It's kind of interesting.
Who have you had so far? Who were your first five?
First guest was Bill Burr.
Bill Burr, a great comedian,
Yeah.
great stand-up.
Absolutely. Then we had
State of the art.
absolutely. It was awesome. Great time. You probably know everybody that's done the show. We had Joe Rogan last
Number
week.
two, last week was Joe Rogan. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, we had
Drug user, self-proclaimed.
Yeah, he talked quite a bit about.
He takes DMT and so forth.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked a lot about DMT.
Yeah.
Do you know what that stuff is, or?
It's a very, very powerful. Isn't it a tranquilizer of some sort of an animal? Cat tranquilizer?
Yeah, something like that. I think it comes from a plant or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah.
What about those guys that are like, hey, it's natural. It comes from a plant.
Yeah, exactly. So does heroin, I think.
So does cyanide.
Yeah.
What about, what was your second guest?
The second guest was Hal Sparks.
Hal Sparks, okay.
Very entertaining. He has a lot of opinions about things.
Who else?
The third guest was, I believe, Harland Williams.
Oh, Harland, the great Harland Williams, our good friend. Yeah.
Another Canadian friend of ours. And then John Doerr.
John Doerr. Oh, I know John Doerr. Yeah, he's great
also from Ottawa.
He's from Ottawa?
He's from Ottawa, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I worked with him. He's hilarious.
Yeah, so, and...
you know the guy Mario Cantone?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gay, you know. Out of the closet gay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his act, that he's gay, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything that's...
You didn't out him.
I'm not telling any tales out of school.
No, okay, yeah.
But anyways, here I am, a young lad auditioning for the Joan Rivers show when it was on.
Yeah.
It's the first time I ever came to the United States. Me and Howard Busgang.
Yeah.
And so me and Howard Busgang and Mario Cantone, Joan Rivers likes us all, you know. So we're at the Hyatt Regency, which is across from the Comedy Store, where we auditioned for Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
And it's me and Howard Busgang are in the room, you know, and Howard Busgang smoked marijuana at the time, you know.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah.
You know? But he smoked marijuana, and I was watching.
Yeah.
And so I said, Howard, man, it's weird. You're just smoking marijuana all by yourself. Why don't you invite old Mario Cantone over, right? So he phones Mario Cantone's room. Mario Cantone goes, yeah, I'll come over. So he comes over like a minute later, all red-faced with his lover, right?
Yeah, okay.
He's also red-faced. They're drenched in sweat.
Okay, yeah. They've just been fornicating.
Yeah, they've been fornicating.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we'll take some. So they take a quick, smoke this joint so that they'll enhance their orgasm later, right?
Right, sure, okay.
Then they give it back to poor Howard Busgang. And he's sitting there with this joint that has God knows what on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah.
Yeah, so Howard Busgang, in an effort to be politically correct, even though they're gone,
Yeah.
Smokes the joint and gets full-blown AIDS. No. No, I just made up that last part. No, Howard Busgang's a great guy. He's doing a show right now.
Wow, yeah.
In Canada.
Well, that's no, that must have been pretty exciting doing the Joan Rivers show first time in
I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. You didn't do it?
No. Mark Breslin was the booker of it. Who was the Yuck Yucks guy. He said, hey, come on down and audition for Joan Rivers. And I said, I don't want to do Joan Rivers because I wanted to do the Johnny Carson program.
Sure, yeah.
And so he said, no, just come down. So I went down, and then Joan Rivers said, yeah, you can be on the show. And then I said, no, I don't want to be on the show. And then I couldn't work for Yuck Yucks for 4 months.
Right, because he was probably mad about that.
Yeah.
But Joan Rivers, obviously, if you did that show, you wouldn't have done Johnny Carson, I guess.
I didn't do Johnny Carson either. But I ended up doing Pat Sajak.
Yeah. I remember that.
You remember the Pat Sajak show?
Yeah. It was felt like he was very much trying to do sort of a Letterman type thing or something.
Yes, he was. He was because he was also a funny weatherman like Letterman,
Yeah.
And but he was very nice to me. But he had he decided to do a 90-minute show.
Uh-huh.
This was 5 years after Johnny Carson decided that 90 minutes was too long for him.
Right. Yeah.
Pat Sajak figured he'd do 90 minutes. So there were so many guests that by the end of the show you would be way at the end of the couch. And there was a sidekick, Dan Miller, who Pat told me was the funniest guy in the world. And when Pat started out, wherever he started out, with Dan Miller was the anchor. And you know how guys are the funniest guy in the world, but only if you know everything about them?
Sure. Yeah.
So he was like, oh, you'll love this guy, Dan Miller. So he just sat there. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, there were so many guests. At one point, I was so far down the couch that I looked over at Dan Miller. He was reading a book during the television program.
So then Letterman was that soon thereafter?
I did like 5 Pat Sajaks, and then Letterman wanted me. And he said, yeah. And then I saw my thing. It said, world national television debut. And I go, no, I already did Pat Sajak 5 times. And then they said, we'll just say national.
That didn't count, right?
Yeah, that was just the farm league.
Wow, that must, because I remember when I was like a kid, right? And I was doing the amateur night at Yuck Yucks, right? That's when I remember when you did Pat Sajak. I remember that. It was.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Everyone was talking about it. Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I'd go on the road sometimes, and everyone lies about their credits, Yeah. So sometimes I'd be on stage, and the opener, he'd pretend he was on The Tonight Show, and the middle would pretend he was on Letterman, and then I was a headliner. I was on Pat Sajak, and they go, oh. Huh? Even though mine was the real credit.
Yeah. Did you get?
You want to hear a funny story about Pat Sajak?
Yeah.
One time I was on it. You know Henny Youngman?
Sure.
Who ironically was an old man.
Yeah. Wasn't a young man at all.
He wasn't a young man.
He was a young man at one point.
At one point, when they named him, it made sense.
Just didn't change his name as he got older.
Yeah. So he's on the show, and so Pat Sajak had an idea every week he'd do all comedy, which is not a good idea, especially when you're the last guy. So Henny Youngman came out, right? And he's a great comedian, So he did his comedy, then he goes over and he does the panel with Pat Sajak, right? Then halfway during the panel, he goes, I'd like to sing a song for the audience. It's a little song I made up, you know. So Pat Sajak goes, sure, you know. So he gets up and he walks over to the performing area, and he goes to step off the riser, and he trips. And I'm watching this backstage, you know, and he starts falling. It looks like slow motion, really slow. And then, you know, he's 80, and he goes down like face first, really, really hard on the floor. So they stop tape, and everybody's around, including Pat Sajak. It takes about a half hour to get him up. And he says, I want to continue. He's all like, now he's all blurry, you know. But it's like the show must go on. You know,
Right,
you
sure.
ever hear that?
Yeah.
Ridiculous, retarded maxim.
Yeah.
So he thought the show must go on. So now they restart it, and he's at the panel again. He's talking to Pat Sajak, and he's doing the same jokes and everything. And he goes, now I'd like to do a song. And then Pat Sajak goes, huh? And he gets up again, and he goes to step off the rise again. So Pat Sajak stops, and he goes, just do it here, you know. So he starts playing his violin, you know.
Yeah.
And he sings the song, and the song's all about how great it's not a funny song, it's all about how great the audience is. He goes, the audience is like butter crunch, they're the best. If there wasn't for them, you know. So the house goes crazy because here he's, you know, almost died, and now he's doing a song about how great the audience is. And then I have to go on next. So I'm like, oh, my God, like, and they just go crazy for him. So then I go on, I bomb for 5 minutes, you know, and then I walk over to the panel, you know, and you know how panel on works. The guy's sitting on the chair, and then he has to move over to the couch, and then you sit on the chair, right?
Yeah.
But Henny Youngman at this point's half dead, sitting on the chair, right? So he ain't moving, you know?
So you had to sit on the couch and
Yeah,
talk
so I had to
over him.
climb over him
Yeah.
and sit on the couch. So now there's a 3-shot. Pat Sajak's interviewing me, and there's a dead guy in between us. So we're doing our pre-planned, you know, stuff, and you got a dog, and I got a dog, and all this stuff, you know. And meanwhile, there's just a dead guy looking straight forward. And we do this for a couple of minutes in this insane 3-shot. And then all of a sudden, he snaps out of it, and he just looks over at me, and he goes, nice shirt. Somewhere there's a canopy missing on an Italian restaurant. That was the story.
Did you did you get nervous when you would do these early shows? Would you get nervous? Or were
Yeah, I get pretty nervous.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always nervous. I'm nervous when I'm not doing shows.
You are?
I'm just nervous all the time now.
Well, I'm
Something's
nervous
happened to
all
me.
the time, too, but I bet that people would think you and I weren't nervous. That would be my guess.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because, you know, I would think that maybe you wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think you wouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, I kind of think you wouldn't be.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover,
Yeah.
right? Except
well,
Mein Kampf.
yeah. The swastika and the black leather binding kind of gives it away a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so that's cool. So then, okay, well, this is cool. So wait, tell me what's something you remember about Beacon Hill that you think that maybe nobody would remember? I had an interesting conversation the other day. I ran into someone from Beacon Hill, and they talked about how they used to like going up to the Skillet at the Zellers to get fries and gravy. Did you ever do that?
Oh, I think that the skill was a ride. I do remember that.
The
Yeah.
Zellers department
Yeah,
store at
sure.
the mall had
Sure.
a restaurant in it.
Yeah, the skillet, of course, yeah.
And you could get fries and gravy
Sure,
there?
you get fries and gravy. You get a grilled cheese sandwich with a pickle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something that I hadn't thought of in a long
skillet,
time.
yeah, I never have either. At first, when you said skillet, I thought you were talking about a ride or something I hadn't
Yeah.
heard of. But yeah, that's really going back.
This is something that nobody in Beacon Hill would even really have any enjoyment
I know,
listening to, because it's not even there anymore. But
Yeah, that's going way back.
yeah.
Skillet, wow.
Anything that you think that we could talk about Beacon Hill that nobody listening would have any interest in
Interested?
hearing about, but maybe might be kind of cool for us to talk about for a second?
No, what about you?
Well, there was remember the Vibes? Remember Vibes, the record store at the
Yes.
Beacon Hill Mall?
Yeah, I remember that.
The mall was very centric for me growing up.
It
there.
was?
Yeah, I worked at the Dairy Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother worked at that Dairy Queen.